Long, long ago, before the two-legged walked the earth, the weather was always warm and the animals were always happy. But one day, something happened to cause the earth to grow cold. Tiny crystals, glittering like diamonds, drifted down from the sky, covering earth with a sparkling softness. The animals, seeing snow for the first time, were not afraid. But soon the snow deepened and Mouse disappeared. The tip of his tail was all the animals could see, and they began to worry. Then Rabbit disappeared. The tips of his ears were all the animals could see, and they worried some more. At last, they gathered together in a clearing deep inside the forest to talk about the weather. What was needed, they decided, was a messenger to travel to the Great Spirit, sky, and ask him to stop the snow. But who could be willing to leave the earth to visit the distant place where the Sky Spirit dwelt? Possum said, Owl is the wisest. Perhaps he should go. But no, the animals whispered, he might get lost in the light of the day, so Owl should not go. Then Beaver said, perhaps Raccoon should go. But no, the animals argued, he might follow his tail instead of his nose, so Raccoon should not go. Then Skunk said perhaps Coyote should go. But no, the animals shouted, Coyote is clever and loves to play tricks. He might chase the clouds or swallow the wind, so Coyote should not go. Screecha, 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 scratcha, yippa, yappa, yoo-hee, yo. The noisy animals screeched and howled because they could not decide who should go and visit the great Sky Spirit to ask him to stop the snow. And to the snow continued to grow deeper and deeper and deeper. And the small animals climbed on top of the tall animals so they would not disappear. Suddenly, down from the top of the tallest tree flew the rainbow crow, the most beautiful bird on earth, who called out to all of the animals below in the sweetest voice of all birds, and he sang. So, the crow was very beautiful and also had the sweetest voice. I will go, I will stop the snow. And the animals, happy at last to have Crow as their messenger, chanted a song of praise. Aya, 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 rain, rainbow crow, stop the snow, crow, fly to the sky high, rainbow, rainbow crow, aya, aya, aya. So he started flying. The crow is flying. He went to an airport and took up for his flight. Then high up into the sky flew Rainbow Crow, far above the snow and the winds of the earth, way beyond the moon, the stars, and the clouds. For 3 days Crow flew until he came upon the great Sky Spirit, who was too busy to notice. So Rainbow Crow began to sing, O great Spirit in the sky, you rule the earth from way up high. You make the creatures large and small. You are the ruler of us all. You make the trees and flowers grow. You cause the wind and clouds to blow. You make the cold on earth below. O great Spirit in the sky, for you I sing this lullaby. The great Spirit stopped to listen. Never before had he heard such a sweet voice sing such a beautiful song, and he told Crow to choose a gift. Now there's the bargaining, folks, going on. Now Crow knew that far below on the earth, the snow was getting so deep that soon all animals would disappear. So he asked the Great Spirit to stop the snow. The Great Spirit replied, No, Crow, I cannot stop the snow, for snow has a spirit of its own. When Snow Spirit leaves the clouds to visit his friend's Wind Spirit, the snow will stop, but earth will still be cold. So Crow asked the Great Spirit to stop the cold. The Great Spirit replied, No, Crow, I cannot stop the cold. All I can do is give you the gift of fire. Fire will keep you warm and will melt the snow so that your friends will become content until warm weather returns. The Great Spirit picked up a stick, put a bit of fire on the end of it, and handed it to Crow. I will give you this gift but once. Hurry, fly back to the earth before the fire disappears. Off flew the crow. Now his round trip back to the earth. On the first day, as Crow flew down, showering sparks of fire darkened his tail feathers. On the second day, as the crow flew down, the fire burned brighter and the stick grew shorter. And all of the crow's feathers were covered with soot. On the third day, as Crow flew down, the fire was so hot and the stick was so short that smoke and ash below blew into Crow's mouth, and his voice became cracked and hoarse. Caw, caw. And when at last Crow returned to the clearing in the forest, all the animals had disappeared. Only the tops of the tallest trees could be seen, their branches sprouting through the deep snow. So Crow flew down close to the pale, pale ground, around and around until the fire melted the snow and his friends were safe. And this tiny stick of fire became the grandfather of all the fires, and for this all the animals on earth thanked Crow. They danced and chanted a song of praise. In DBT we call it validation. Aya, 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 aya. Kind, young, brave crow saved us from the snow, flew to the sky high, brought back fire. Now just plain crow, no more rainbow. Aya, aya, aya. At last, Crow all alone flew off to a distant tree, where he wept. He was no longer beautiful. He could no longer sing a sweet song. His rainbow feathers were gone forever. When Snow Spirit emptied the clouds and joined the Wind Spirit, the snow stopped, but Crow was still crying and weeping. We call it in psychiatry that's a depressed crow. The great sky spirit heard the crow and came down from the sky. And when he saw the crow, he said, Soon the two-legged will appear on earth. That is you and I, the people who walk on two legs. He will take the fire and be the master of all but you. For being so brave and unselfish, I give you the gift of freedom. The two-legged will never hunt you, for your meat tastes like fire and smoke. The two-legged will never capture you, for your beautiful voice is now cracky and hoarse. The two-legged will never want your feathers, because your rainbow colors are now black. But your black feathers will shine, and they will reflect all the colors on the earth. If you look closely, you will see. Then the crow looked, and he saw hundreds of tiny rainbows shining in his black feathers, and he was content. The Great Spirit returned to his home in the distant sky, and the crow happily returned to his friends in the forest, proud that he was now Black Crow, with shining feathers full of tiny rainbows. So the crow had an antidepressant that allowed him to reframe his hurt feelings into his beauty, so we can return to our own wounds and tragedies in life and recognize the rainbow within those. Thank you.